So I don't know if I'm the only one, but throughout my teenage years I've had moments where I've sat down and I've thought to myself, how have these rich people and wealthy people and successful people got to where they are? How are they financially free, and how comes they just get to do whatever they want with their lives without a boss standing over them saying that they can't? So hopefully I'm not the only one, and that brings me on to today's video topic, which is 7 ways in which teenagers can begin to build wealth. What's up you guys, it's Bart here, and as you just heard me say, today's video is something that not only applies to me but hopefully to a lot of people out there, and not even just teenagers, maybe those in their 20s, 30s or even their 40s. The tips that I'm going to share today are most definitely applicable to more than just one age group, but I feel like in our teenage years, and especially in the age range that I am at the moment, if we get these things right, and if we build these habits, and if we try and implement what I'm about to say to you guys into our lives early on, then there's a good chance we will be able to build wealth throughout our lifetime. Now, building wealth isn't the most important thing to a lot of people, but for me, certainly, it's something that I have been researching a lot recently, and something that I've been really interested in purely because of the freedom that it gives you later on in life. I don't necessarily want to build wealth to buy myself flashy cars or expensive jewellery or anything like that. It's purely to have a say in what I do in my day. I can wake up and decide that today I'm going to do this instead of go to work for 9 hours just to make someone else's business a lot of money. So that's my motivation behind it, having the freedom to do what I'd like to do. Let me know what yours is down below, and without further ado, let's get into the video. So the first piece of advice I'd give absolutely anyone who wants to build wealth throughout their teenage years, or maybe even in their 20s, is to smash the like button. No, but seriously, if you could do that for me, it would honestly mean the world, and it would help us push this video out to further audiences on YouTube, so that hopefully we can share this knowledge with a couple more people and keep growing this community that we've built up so far. There is 72 of us, 72 subscribers. I'm very grateful for everyone that leaves comments under the videos. Keep them coming, and yeah, without further ado, let's actually get into the video now. So the first way to build wealth as a teenager is by simply taking more risks. We're young people, we're, barely just getting started in life, and there's really not many obligations at this sort of age for the majority of people. We don't have children, we don't have big families to take care of, we don't have bills to pay, and that gives us freedom. That gives us the freedom to take risks and really take action. So who knows, maybe putting your life savings or your current savings into Dogecoin might be the right move for you. No, I'm only kidding, but what I mean by taking more risk is simply just increasing that risk tolerance and not being scared to take decisions that might not even go in your favour. There may be a 50-50 chance that you'll make money or that you'll lose all of your money, but at this stage it doesn't matter. Taking risks ultimately gives you some of the most valuable lessons that you get in life. So I feel like at this age we must increase our risk tolerances and take action. Let's start businesses, let's invest into things that might not even work out, and let's learn from that, and that way we'll not only be building wealth for the future but also a bit of wisdom along the way. And speaking of wisdom, that brings me on to my second piece of advice, and that is to find a mentor. Now, before you have a go at me and before you think that I'm going to tell you to go and buy the next dropshipping course or eBay, Spotify, Shopify, whatever it might be, and a course from somebody on YouTube, and use them as my mentor, or pay for somebody to mentor you and give you advice, or a property coach somewhere like or whoever it might be to teach you, and paid education and paid mentoring. No, that's not what I'm trying to get at here. What I mean by finding a mentor is simply looking into your local community and going and finding someone that's already doing well, already financially sustainable, has good interests in business, or is just wise in your eyes, someone that has life experience and someone that can really help you become successful, and someone who is successful financially themselves. Go and find that person in your community and say to them, look, I'd love to find out how you did it. I know that's very easy to do, and go up to someone and say, look, I want to know how you did it, I want to know how you made all this money. And 9 times out of 10, if that's what you say to people, they will just turn you away. But if you say, I want to find out how you did it, and I want you to teach me how you did it, and I want to work for you, and I really want to put the effort in, and I'm super passionate about what you do, and I want to do it myself as well, then the person that's perhaps more wise than you are and more financially successful will look at you and see the glimpse in your eye and think, yes, I want to give this guy an opportunity, or I want to give this girl an opportunity, and I want to see what they're capable of. And 9 times out of 10, in that case, they will help you. They'll give you that small piece of advice, or even better, they'll offer you a job or something like that. And even if that means you have to go and work for this successful person on the weekend for a couple of hours for free just to learn the processes within their business, or just to be around them and listen to the sort of conversations they have and the sort of things that they speak about, and anything really around a successful, financially successful person like that could benefit you. And that leads me on to my third point, which is really looking at your close circle of friends and deciding if ultimately they are there for you and whether they're going to be there for you in the future. If you are in a friendship group where perhaps what you want to talk about is stocks and real estate, or freedom in life, or anything like that, any of these boring subjects that I'm into, and the rest of your friends are talking about partying every weekend and getting hammered, then perhaps your friendship circle isn't quite right for you, and you should move on, and you should find those people that are interested in similar things to yours. But because at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say here is your network is your net worth. So if you're hanging around with people that don't have a job, spend all of their money that they have maybe from their parents on drinking or something like that, and you're a hard-working person, and you don't really get to relate with them and speak about certain things that you'd like to speak to, then perhaps it's best to just move on and find new friends. And that's not to say you should sack off all of your friends immediately and find people that want to talk about stocks and real estate or anything like that, because it's good to have people in your friendship circle that aren't exactly the same as you and that don't want to speak about all of these things, and you can just talk about life and normal things and go out to a party and have a little drink every now and again. But I feel like it's really important to diversify your friendship group, to perhaps reach out to different sorts of people as well, so you're not just stuck with the same sort of mindsets all the time. Okay, so enough about people. We've spoken about mentors, we've spoken about friends, but now let's ultimately get into something that will build wealth the most in the future, and that is investing. So my fourth tip and my fourth piece of advice for teenagers is to start investing as soon as possible, because timing the market always beats timing the market. I'm not sure if I've made that sound clear, but time in the market always beats timing the market. So especially at our age, we have a huge advantage. There are years ahead of us before we retire, and the earlier we get into markets, whether it's real estate, whether it's stocks, the more gains we can see in the future. So my piece of advice, and certainly something that I've been doing myself and I will be doing increasingly more of from June onwards when I turn 18, is investing. And I'd recommend that anybody sitting here watching this video that is in their teenage years, or whether, honestly, if you're 20, 30, 40, 50, everybody should start investing now and thinking about their future. I know it's boring to financially plan and think about your future or anything like that, but at this age we have such a huge advantage, and that is time. So I feel like if we have money left over, aka savings, or at the end of the month you have a bit of spare cash, think of ways that you can make your money work for you instead of going out to work for money at your job. So think of your pounds as little employees, and every time you put a pound into the market, it will work for you to make you more money. So think of every single pound as a little employee, and before you go out and splash on another pair of Balenciaga trainers, think about how that £500, those 500 small employees could do in the market and make you more money, so that in the future maybe your investments can pay for your Balenciagas. And speaking of Balenciagas, that leads me on to my fifth point, and that is to simply educate yourself. Find ways to educate yourself. Now, by that I don't mean go to university and do a degree in whatever it might be. That's not necessarily the only way to educate yourself in this world. There are books out there are people out there that you can speak to, there is free online content just like this YouTube video that you're watching, so I strongly suggest that you hit the like button so that I can continue making these videos and that you can continue learning from them, because it is free content and it costs nothing to hit the like button, so I'd love it if you could do that. But anyway, education nowadays is more accessible than it has ever been, and you know, it's not just the case of going to university and reading through your textbooks and that would be it. You know, as I've mentioned, there are other ways of educating yourself, and the more you know, the more wise you are as a person, the more you're able to bring to the table. Pick up a book, go to your local networking event, speak to people, watch these YouTube videos, whatever it might be, educate yourself so that you can provide more value to the world, and well, the world will repay you in lots of pounds or dollars or whatever it might be. And going back to the point of, you know, people just going into this financial freedom life and thinking,
whoa, university's not for me, I'm just going to go and invest all of my money into SafeMoon, into Dogecoin, and become a millionaire overnight.
You know, it's not possible. So that brings me on to my 6th point, and that is to not solely focus on investing. There are other things that you can be doing to increase your wealth. Especially at this age, to invest, you need money. So initially what you should be doing is, first of all, educating yourself, as I said in the previous point. Secondly, finding ways to increase your income, because ultimately the higher income you have, the more able you are to save more money and invest into the stock market, real estate, crypto, whatever it might be. So I feel like people underestimate the importance of increasing their income first before they go into investing, because investing, you know, £5, your returns aren't going to be great, but if you're investing £5,000, your returns could be much greater. So focus on increasing your income. And the last bit of this point is perhaps focus on business, focus on creating, focus on providing value to the world, or focus on something that nobody has done before. Obviously that is very hard and not for everyone, but focusing on business at such a young age could increase your wealth exponentially in the future. So instead of just investing, you know, your £500 into the S&P 500 where you get a 7% return, and you know, after inflation that's like 5, maybe 4% in a bad year. So, you know, on your £500, all of a sudden you've only got what, £2.50 returns or £2.75 returns. Whereas if you put that £500 into a business and invested into a camera and some lighting and a microphone, I know £500 won't take you very far, but any sort of investment into a little business could go a lot further than perhaps putting it straight into the stock market. So perhaps think how you can use your money to create business that will then make you more money, rather than using all of your money to invest initially when we have really small amounts as teenagers, as you know, I know myself. So yeah, that is my penultimate point, and my next one is very personal perhaps, because my last point is to not get a car if you don't have to. Now, I come from a very, let's say, disconnected town in terms of the world of business. You know, I don't live in central London, in New York, in Los Angeles or anything like that. I live in a small town that's, you know, a 2-hour drive from London, and basically not a lot goes on. So a car for me is perhaps necessary, especially as you know, I have a little role as a football referee and I drive to school every day, and you know, I'm basically trying to make up excuses, but at the same time it is necessary for me. But I'm saying to those that don't need cars, for those that live in London, for example, that have so many transportation links and don't want to pay this stupid £12.50 fee every single day, do not get a car. It's as simple as that. The expenses of running a car, so fuel, insurance, tax, and actually buying the car in the first place, it honestly eats you up. And I definitely underestimated this when I first bought a car. And you may have seen in one of my early videos, I used to drive a Honda Jazz from 2007. It was fully black and it was perfectly fine. There was nothing wrong with it. It never broke. It was so good. And you know what? That was a good financial decision. But recently, well, I made an awful financial decision and I went and bought myself a BMW Z3 from 1997 with a soft top convertible, and now I'm a 17-year-old that pays just under £2,000 in insurance. The car cost me, you know, a fair amount of money, and there is something wrong with it every single week. I was actually in West London the other day and my car just decided to blow up. The car didn't blow up itself, but the water tank did, because it overheated, because it's a car from 1997. And I had to call a recovery truck, and it took me all the way back to my hometown, nice 2-hour drive with the recovery man, telling him how much I regret buying this car and selling my Honda Jazz. Now, what I'm saying is, do not make irrational decisions. As much as I love the car, as much as it looks great, sounds great, and I feel great driving it and everything, financially speaking, it was the wrong decision. I spend probably 5 times as much money on fuel, a lot more on insurance, tax costs more, everything costs more, and it has really taken a lot of money out of my pocket that I could have invested instead, or I could have put towards this YouTube channel, making it look better or sound better. So what I'm saying is, do not put your money into a car and think that you're a cool 17, 18, 19 year old, because it will hurt you financially. And I'm telling you this from experience. So that just about wraps up my 7 tips for teenagers, and hopefully you'll find that these things will help you build wealth substantially more than you have been doing so far in your teenage years, and hopefully you can take some of these tips moving forwards into your life, whether it's into your 20s or 30s, and hopefully we can all be successful together. And I'll make sure to document my own journey in building wealth on this YouTube channel. So if that's something that you'd like to see, then please make sure to subscribe. Let's try and get to 80 subscribers by the next video, and I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the comment section. If you have any other tips on how to build wealth as a teenager, then please do let me know down below, as there are many out there, I'm sure. Follow me on Instagram at BartCLK, and most importantly, smash that like button. I'll see you next time.